The Secret Within the Old Oak. Amelia was an imaginative 8-year-old girl with curly brown hair that cascaded down her back like a wild river. Her eyes sparkled with the curiosity of someone who saw the world as a place full of secrets waiting to be discovered. She lived in a quaint cottage on the edge of a vast woodland that stretched far beyond what the eye could see. The forest was her playground, a realm of endless adventure where each tree and stream held a new mystery. One warm afternoon, the sun filtered through the leaves, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor. Amelia decided to explore a part of the woods she hadn't ventured into before. With her backpack slung over her shoulder and a homemade map in hand, she set off, her faithful dog Max trotting beside her. Max was a golden retriever with a friendly disposition, always eager to accompany her on her escapades. As she wandered deeper into the woods, she stumbled upon a towering oak tree, unlike any she had seen. Its trunk was massive, and its branches stretched out like the arms of a giant embracing the sky. The tree exuded an aura of wisdom as if it had witnessed countless seasons and stories unfold. Amelia approached the tree, her fingers brushing against the rough bark. She noticed an unusual pattern on the trunk, a faint outline that seemed too deliberate to be natural. Upon closer inspection, she realized it was the shape of a small door, cleverly concealed within the grooves of the bark. Her heart pounded with excitement. Could this be a secret hiding place? She pressed her fingers against the outline, and to her astonishment, the bark gave way, revealing a hollow compartment within the tree. Inside lay a small leather-bound diary, its cover worn and edges frayed with age. She carefully pulled out the diary, her hands trembling with anticipation. The name Evelyn Mae was etched elegantly on the first page, dated 1955. Amelia's eyes widened. Who was Evelyn Mae, and why was her diary hidden in this tree? Unable to contain her curiosity, she sat at the base of the oak tree, Max settling down beside her. She began to read, the world around her fading as she became absorbed in Evelyn's words. April 12, 1955. Today I hid my diary in the old oak tree. Father says some secrets are best kept hidden, but I can't help but pour my heart onto these pages. Maybe one day someone will find it and understand. Amelia turned the pages slowly, delving deeper into Evelyn's life. She learned that Evelyn was a girl not much older than herself, full of dreams and questions about the world. Evelyn wrote about her adventures in the woods, her love for painting, and her cherished moments with her younger sister, Lillian. As the sun began to set, casting golden hues across the sky, Amelia realized how much time had passed. She tucked the diary safely into her backpack and headed home, her mind buzzing with thoughts about Evelyn and the secrets that lay within the pages. That evening at dinner, Amelia could barely focus on her food. Her parents exchanged amused glances. "What's on your mind, sweetheart?" her mother asked. "Just thinking about stories," Amelia replied, a small smile playing on her lips. After dinner, she curled up in her bed, the soft glow of her bedside lamp illuminating the pages as she continued to read. The entries became more intriguing. Evelyn wrote about a family secret, something that weighed heavily on her young heart. May 5, 1955. Mother and father had a long discussion last night. They think I was asleep, but I heard everything. They talked about Lillian and something about sending her away. I don't understand why. Lillian is the sweetest sister anyone could ask for. Amelia's brow furrowed. Why would Evelyn's parents send Lillian away? She read on. May 10, 1955. They told us today. Lillian is going to stay with Aunt Clara for a while. They say it's for her health, but I don't believe them. Lillian cried herself to sleep in my arms. I promised her everything would be okay, but I'm not sure I believe it myself. A sense of unease settled over Amelia. The entries that followed were filled with sadness and confusion. Evelyn wrote less frequently, and when she did, her words were laced with despair. June 1st, 1955. The house feels empty without Lillian. Mother barely speaks, and father buries himself in work. I try to ask about Lillian, but they tell me to forget and focus on my studies. How can I forget my own sister? The final entry was the shortest. June 15th, 1955. I don't know what to do. I miss her so much. Maybe someday someone will find this diary and help make sense of it all. Amelia closed the diary, tears welling in her eyes. The pain in Evelyn's words was palpable. She felt a connection to this girl from the past, as if Evelyn's sorrow had transcended time to reach her. The next day, Amelia couldn't concentrate at school. All she could think about was the diary and the mystery of Lillian's disappearance. After school, she decided to visit her grandmother, Rose, who lived with them. Rose was a gentle woman with silver hair and a warm smile, always ready with a story or a comforting word. "Grandma," Amelia began hesitantly as she found her sitting in the garden, tending to her roses. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course, dear. What is it?" Rose replied, looking up from her work. "Do you know anyone named Evelyn Mae?" Amelia watched her grandmother's face closely. Rose's hands stilled and a distant look came into her eyes. "Where did you hear that name?" Amelia took a deep breath and told her grandmother about finding the diary in the old oak tree. She watched as emotions flickered across Rose's face. Surprise, sadness, and something else she couldn't quite identify. "Evelyn Mae was my sister," Rose said softly. "We grew up in this very house." Amelia's eyes widened. "Your sister? But I've never heard about her." Rose sighed, her gaze drifting to the horizon. "There are some things I thought best left in the past, but perhaps it's time you knew." They sat together on the garden bench, the scent of roses enveloping them. Rose began to share her story. "Evelyn was a bright, spirited girl, much like you. Lillian was our younger sister. She was born with a congenital heart condition, something that was difficult to treat back then. Our parents tried to shield us from the severity of her illness." Rose's voice quavered as she continued. "When Lillian's condition worsened, our parents made the difficult decision to send her to a specialized care facility in the hopes that she would receive better treatment. Evelyn took it hard. She felt betrayed, confused, and most of all, helpless." "Why didn't you ever tell me?" Amelia asked gently. "It was a painful time, and I thought that by not speaking of it, the hurt would fade. But maybe that was a mistake." Rose looked at her granddaughter with tear-filled eyes. "Evelyn passed away when she was just 16. She contracted pneumonia, and with her fragile emotional state, she couldn't fight it off." Amelia felt a lump in her throat. "I'm so sorry, Grandma." Rose placed a hand over Amelia's. "Finding that diary after all these years, it must be fate. Perhaps it's time to heal old wounds." Together, they spent the afternoon reading through the diary. Rose filled in the gaps, sharing memories and stories that brought Evelyn and Lillian to life for Amelia. They laughed at the mischievous antics the sisters got up to and wept for the hardships they endured. "Do you know what happened to Lillian?" Amelia asked. Rose nodded. "She recovered well enough to live a modest life. She moved abroad, and we lost touch over the years. I've often wondered how she fared." "Maybe we can find her," Amelia suggested, her eyes shining with determination. Inspired by Amelia's enthusiasm, they began a quest to locate Lillian. They searched through old letters, contacted distant relatives, and scoured public records. Weeks turned into months, but they didn't give up. One day, a letter arrived from an organization overseas. Rose opened it with trembling hands. It was from a nursing home in England. Lillian had lived there until her passing just a year prior. The letter included a package containing some of Lillian's personal belongings, including photographs and letters addressed to her family. Rose and Amelia sat together as they opened the package. Among the items was a letter from Lillian to her sisters, never sent. "My dearest Evelyn and Rose, I hope this letter finds its way to you someday. Not a day goes by that I don't think of you both. I understand now why Mother and Father did what they did, but it doesn't lessen the ache of our separation. I wish we could have had more time together. With all my love, Lillian." Tears streamed down Rose's face. "All this time, she was thinking of us," she whispered. Amelia hugged her grandmother tightly. "She never forgot you." They spent the evening going through the photographs. One in particular caught Amelia's eye, a picture of 3 young girls standing beneath the old oak tree, their arms wrapped around each other. "That's the tree where I found the diary," Amelia exclaimed. Rose smiled through her tears. "We used to call it the wishing tree. We believed that if we hid our wishes in its trunk, they might come true." Amelia felt a warmth spread through her. Maybe Evelyn hid the diary hoping someone would find it and bring you all back together. "Perhaps she did," Rose agreed. In honor of Evelyn and Lillian, they decided to hold a family gathering at the old oak tree. Relatives from near and far came, sharing stories and reconnecting bonds that had long been neglected. They hung pictures of Evelyn and Lillian from the branches, their faces smiling down as if they were part of the celebration. Amelia stood beneath the tree, feeling a sense of fulfillment. She had helped her grandmother uncover a piece of family history that had been lost to time. More importantly, she had given her grandmother the gift of closure and the joy of remembering her sisters not with sorrow, but with love. "Thank you, Amelia," Rose said, embracing her. "You've brought our family back together in a way I never thought possible." Months later, life settled into a new normal. Rose seemed lighter, happier. She took up painting again, a hobby she had shared with Evelyn. Together, she and Amelia spent afternoons capturing the beauty of the woods on canvas. One day, as they painted side by side, Amelia asked, "Do you think Evelyn and Lillian know what we've done?" "I believe they do," Rose replied with a gentle smile. "And I think they're happy." Amelia looked at her painting, a vibrant depiction of the old oak tree bathed in sunlight. "I'm glad we found the diary," she said. "Me too, dear. It reminds us that even though time passes, the connections we have with those we love remain." As the years went by, the story of the hidden diary became a cherished family legend, passed down from one generation to the next. Amelia grew up, her adventurous spirit undimmed. She continued to explore, to seek out the hidden stories in the world around her. And whenever she returned to the old oak tree, she felt the presence of Evelyn and Lillian, two sisters whose love had transcended time to touch her life. She would sit at the base of the tree, Max, now older but just as loyal, resting beside her, and she would write in her own diary, knowing that someday someone might find her words and feel the same connection. In the end, the hidden diary did more than reveal a family secret. It healed a family's wounds, bridged generations, and taught a young girl the profound impact of uncovering the truths that bind us all. Disclaimer: this channel does not support or tolerate any form of discrimination, racism, prejudice, or violation of human rights. The stories presented here are original and created by the author with the aim of promoting reflection, awareness, and dialogue. All content is developed with respect for diversity and the dignity of all people.